Everybody, welcome back to. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the GoatCast. This is season 4. This is episode 6. It's another Monday. This is what we do on Mondays. We drop our full episode. Um, and just quick updates. I know I spoke about doing an anime corner this week, but that will be for all my anime lovers out there. And really quick before I keep going, I do appreciate everyone that's subscribing, up to 83 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I'm just having fun just doing this. This is just like I said, it's I do this for fun on the side, so really enjoy doing it. And thank you guys for subscribing, come back checking me out. I know I do silly memes and stuff like that throughout the week, so we're gonna keep that rolling. But anyway, anime quarter next week. I've decided that since the manga chapters that I read don't come out till later this week, and this way Demon Slayer can get a little deeper into their season. I'll talk on season 3 so far next week and the manga chapters for Boruto and Dragon Ball Super. So something to look forward to. And if you haven't seen the movie Air, saw that this weekend. Very good movie. Yeah, just a feel good movie. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's cool if you're a sports fan. So with that said, we're going to jump right into. This is going to be a short one today. I promise you. We're just going to go through this weekend of the game ones. For some reason, I thought the game ones, the first round didn't start until today, but it was a pleasant surprise to find out that was this weekend. So Saturday was busy. Didn't quite get to see all the games, but yesterday, some good basketball and some interesting things have happened. If you want to hear my full playoff preview or preview predictions, I will link that in this. I did that last week. Little minor changes. I had the Bulls in it instead of Atlanta, and I had Miami, 7th seed. So, but that really is not going to change who I think is going forward in the East. But yeah, if you want to see I'm not going to go through my predictions here, but if you want to hear it, check out last week's episode 5 where I give my full predictions. So we're going to swing through both nights and just give my overview and see if any of these games change my mind as far as my predictions. So Saturday, we had the Sixers and Nets. Sixers I picked, and they kind of rolled over the Nets, which is to be expected. The Nets, when you're nothing against Mikal Bridges, but when that's your top guy, it's going to be a tall hill to climb. And you got future MVP, and James Harden being extremely efficient. Sixers roll over 121-101. It's what you expect. I don't think Brooklyn can pull one out, but maybe one. But I just think it's a foregone conclusion. Sixers will move on. Next game was the Celtics and Hawks, and this was an absolutely demolition job by the Celtics, who may have jumped to my team to beat and the team could be my favorite to win it all. They just looked their efficient self. I mean, the Hawks really. I'm surprised they even made it in. I don't know if Miami didn't pull a little tank job there against the Atlanta Hawks to get the 8th seed. Maybe they felt they matched up better than the Bucks. We'll talk about that later. But Hawks 112-99. Celtics 112, Hawks 99. Won't change my prediction at all. I don't even think Celtics. I don't know if they'll lose a quarter this series. So yeah, good stuff from them. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum looking good. One of the most interesting matchups, and one that I may have to eye a little more, is the Cleveland Cavaliers and New York Knicks. I thought Cleveland was the sleeper team out east that was going to give a lot of teams problems, and that still could happen. It's one game, but the Knicks look really good. And this is going to be a back and forth series. I think this could be one of the series that goes 7 games because both teams got solid roster. They do have some depth. Jalen Brunson looking beastly, as well as Julius Randle coming back from an injury and really asserting himself on the court. Donovan Mitchell doing Donovan Mitchell things. It's going to be a good series, and whoever they play next is going to have their hands full with either team because both teams are scrappy, and I enjoyed. I didn't get to see it. I saw the highlights, but yeah, that's a series I'm going to be eyeing really hard come these next couple of games. And so the last game was Saturday was I guess the main event. A lot of people wanted to see this. It was the Sacramento Kings against the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people picking the Warriors. I think I did too. But the Kings are no joke, and they showed that. And if this game had been a blowout by the Kings, I'd say Golden State has nothing to worry about. But the fact that this was a close, nip-tuck kind of game, and the Kings pulled it off, De'Aaron Fox was, he was balling. Golden State might be in trouble. Andrew Wiggins did come back. He looked solid. For someone that's been out, I don't know how many games he's been out for quite a while. I think since All-Star break or so. So for him to come back, he looked solid. So once he gets his basketball shape back, he'll be a big help. I think this may go at least. I think this might go 7-2. I think we might have another 7-game series. This is where Golden State's maturity and their the fact that they've been there and done that might play a part. But I'm not counting out the Kings. They really look good. Very well coached by Mike Brown, who, if I were picking, might be my pick for Coach of the Year. So yeah, Warriors score was 126-123. Kings win by 3. Steph couldn't hit that game winner or a game tire, and they'll have to. I think they play again tonight, so that's going to be a real big game for Golden State. Tonight's going to be telling because if they drop this one in Sacramento, they're going to have to really, really ramp it up for games 3 and 4. But that's so far we've had some decent series. Let's flip over to yesterday, where I had the full day to watch all the games. And I know this game is going to cause sports media to lose their minds. I haven't watched any. I'm recording this Monday morning. I haven't watched anything. I'm probably not going to because I don't want to hear Shannon and Skip and Nick Wright and all these other ones gush over one game. But first game of the day, Lakers against the Grizzlies. Lakers get the W, 128-112. Looking at that score, it seemed like the Lakers dominated. It was really a close game, nip-tuck game. Grizzlies led at halftime. I think it was close at the end of the third. And I think the Grizzlies were even up by a little bit in the fourth. But then it was like the last 5 minutes. For 3.5 quarters, it was close. And then the last half of the fourth, Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves just went scorched earth and would not miss a 3. I mean, those guys just went completely ballistic, and there was nothing. The Grizzlies were just like, what do we do? When you have those role players shooting lights out, it's like the 2018 or so Warriors. It was just a barrage of threes, and such they ran the score up and were the heroes of the game. Now the Grizzlies had unfortunate. Both teams. Anthony Davis went down with the arm injury before halftime, but came back, played well. John Morant went out, I believe, in the third quarter with the hand injury. He's questionable. That will change everything. Even though Ja wasn't he started lighting up a little bit, but he wasn't really their go-to guy this game, and it was still pretty close throughout three. So it could, I think that losing him would be a huge blow, obviously a huge blow, and that would pretty much solidify the Lakers moving on. But I think this next game will really prove the Grizzlies' resolve because they took a punch on the chin. Now, can they punch back? Can they play under control? Can they play with controlled anger like somebody else played last night, what I'll get to, and that controlled anger lifted that team up. Can they do the same? They're already talking junk on Twitter, so it's going to be an interesting game, too. They don't play again until Wednesday. They're giving the Lakers a lot of rest time, but nonetheless, I'm not going to. I picked the Grizzlies at 6. Do check out my predictions last week, but I'm not changing it. I think as good as the Lakers looked, Hachimura is not going to hit 5 or 6 threes every game. You take his 5 threes and Austin Reeves' threes and D'Angelo Russell away, and the Grizzlies win. So, Jaren Jackson Jr. played a heck of a game. He was having to play pretty much out of position. He was their de facto center, having to take on Anthony Davis. He was a beast on the boards. He was a beast scoring. He was a beast on defense. They just didn't quite have enough. Dylan Brooks talking junk. He's going to have to step up next game because he's the one that wanted to play him, and now he can't fall off a cliff after saying all that. So we're going to see if these guys step up next game. I think they'll be motivated. I think they'll take this one on the chin and be like, okay, we're going to throw some haymakers back at you. But we'll see. Next is another interesting, the second game of the day, another interesting outcome. The Heat pretty much throttled the Bucks, but unfortunately the Bucks were without Giannis, who went down, I believe, second quarter. Had a hard bump on his back. Went back, tried to come back, but I guess it stiffened up on him. So he was taken out for the rest of the game. They kept it close. Every time they came back, they immediately, Jimmy Butler, Bam, someone would hit a big shot for the Heat. And it was just like every time they would get close, there was somebody to answer on the Heat side. So I'm not going to change. I think I said maybe a gentleman's sweep on that one, even though I had the Bucks playing, I believe, the Chicago Bulls. Here, the Heat are tough enough, well coached enough. They'll get a game. This one might even go 6. They might get one in Miami as well. But if Giannis is able to come back and be somewhat effective, I think the Bucks will still move on. And they're still one of my favorites to win it. They were my favorite to win it. The Celtics look really good, but I'm still running with the Bucks. They'll get by the Heat, and it's just all about keeping Giannis healthy and able to be productive for them. What should have been the main event of the night for everybody was the next game, and that was the Los Angeles Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. And a lot of people have overlooked the Clippers because they're missing Paul George. But what they learned this game, which a lot of people have said, the Clippers are deep. And that depth will play a factor in playoffs because when you can throw different bodies out there, it's really hard for, 5 or 6 guys to play 48 minutes when you got fresh bodies coming in that can score and that can defend and that can do things that's going to wear you down. And the Clippers show that they have that depth to do that. Now, they don't have a KD. They don't have Devin Booker. But, and KD came to play. KD was extremely efficient, played awesome, but Kawhi was the Kawhi of old, 38 points. he was just it was just like the Bucks and Heat. Every time the Suns would get a little run, Kawhi would hit a big shot. Put them back up or swing the momentum back. And this is going to be another tough series. I don't remember how many games I said it was going to go. I wanted to see game one for this reason because I knew depth would be a problem for the Suns, and it's looking like it might be a big problem. Now, moving forward, it might not be as big a problem, but it's Clippers who have a lot of wings, a lot of big wings that can shoot, that can dribble, and on top of that, a controlled, angered Russell Westbrook who, has heard all the negativity all season and last season. He played a heck of a game, rebounding, just attacking, getting to where he needed to be defensively. Clippers are going to be a problem, and I think the Suns now see that, and they're going to have to do some adjusting. Where's T.J. Warren? I don't know if he's hurt. I didn't look it up or anything, but they're going to need some depth, and they're going to have to play some guys, and guys are going to have to step up. KD can't do it all, and Booker can't do it all because, Booker is a great, great player, but if you have the right defenders on him, he can be contained. And containing Booker means you're losing out on a lot of points that you're probably counting on. So they're going to have to really, and if you don't have that third option, that's really you can lean on, then it's going to be a tough matchup with the Clippers. I'm going to still say the Suns will go on to be victorious, but this is going to be, I think we're going to have a couple of 7-game series. Because this is a lot like March Madness this year, where you see these powerhouse teams, but you're not sure because they were powerhouses, but they weren't. You know what I'm saying? As we saw, nobody predicted the Final Four we got or the champions we got. So this is, other than the Celtics, you could say the Lakers, but even they weren't dominating the Grizzlies. And we're going to get to the last game of the night where, we got another team that might be able to dominate a little bit, but we're still going to have our eyeballs on them and see what's going on with them. And that's the Nuggets. The Nuggets placed Timberwolves, who got the 8th seed. Blowout was a 107, 109 to 80. Nuggets efficient. Jamal Murray was on. Jokic was his usual efficient self and the utility guy that did everything. I thought the T-Wolves would match up pretty good with them because they have a similar they're similarly built where they run a lot through their big, whether big as in Karl Anthony Towns, but I don't know if the T-Wolves will even get a game. I think the Nuggets will probably sweep them. Nuggets just looked like a team on another level last night. And, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves just, the parts are there, but something's just missing and something just doesn't click with that team. I don't know if it's Gobert. I don't know if, it's just the style of play of Karl Anthony Towns, but just something doesn't click with that team. And defensively, they're not that great. Excuse me. And the Nuggets going to run all over them. So Nuggets may be a little dominant. I want to see the Nuggets next round. I believe they'll play the winner of the Clippers and Suns. So the Lakers, if they can keep up their momentum, they're lucky they got the path they got. I'll just say that. Because if they had to play the Clippers or Suns next, but don't sleep on the Warriors either. Or the Kings, for that matter. I'm going to stop sleeping on the Kings, and hopefully everybody else will, because the Kings are the real deal. I'm tired of people just overlooking teams because they're young or they don't have all these superstars. They're still viable teams. They're still top teams. They've proven it throughout the season. I think they'll prove it as we go along with these playoffs. So yeah, great 2 nights of basketball. Now they're going to kind of chop it up. Not We won't get all the games or half of the games on one night, but there's 2 tonight. I don't remember who it is. I believe Warriors Kings, but I think it might be the Sixers and Nets, but don't quote me on that. But still some great basketball coming on tonight. And check out, and I'll probably be dropping shorts throughout the week, having memes or commenting on what's going on. So let's move on to our final topic for today, face reveal. Zion Williamson. Okay, so here's I don't know if it was with ESPN or what, but he had a quote where he said he's physically fine, but is him feeling like Zion. Now, Zion, when on the court, has proven that he is the big deal that he was when he came out of Duke, and everyone was talking about him. The guy is huge, but moves like, he moves like a track star. He's just a locomotive that can dance around guys, and he's just one of those guys that come around that are just so athletic and so powerful. He's like a more compact Shaq, where his second step is quicker than most guys, slimmer, smaller, taller. First step, he can get the ball back in before you even gather yourself to jump. So you don't get that kind of talent every day and every year in the draft. So you have that, but you look at it, he's been in the NBA since 2019, and he hasn't played one full season. He's missed more games than he's played. And it seems every injury is accompanied by a setback. And when that happens once, understandable. When that happens twice, like, okay. But when that becomes the norm, you have to think, well, what are we doing wrong? Or what is he doing wrong? If you're putting your ducks in a row and doing the right things, your medical staff is doing everything to make sure that he's protected and he's rehabbing properly, but he still gets set back, then you got to start looking at the person across the room, which is Zion himself. Is Zion serious about this? And when he gets hurt, is he putting in the work to get himself back on the court? I understand that, he doesn't want to be a hindrance to his team by coming back in, say, a play-in tournament game and taking somebody's spot when he hasn't played in, 20-something games. But you're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. You are one of their, that's like LeBron not playing in the playing game, after injury. We would crucify LeBron. I'm not a LeBron fan either, but we would crucify him if he sat out, because even though he was physically ready to go, he didn't feel like LeBron. I don't even know what that means by Zion. He doesn't feel like Zion. I mean, how do you have to feel? If you're physically able to do something, what mentally do you need? Mentally you should be thinking, I want to get our team into the playoffs. So I need to go out there, play the best game of my life. I'm a 2-time All-Star. It shouldn't take me 10 games to get back. I should give it my all this game. And if it's just not working, then yeah, they can adjust. But let the coach handle that. Let the staff handle that. You go out there, you give your 100%. But I just I'm not ready to call him a bust because he is a two-time All-Star, and he's only been in the league 4 years now. 1 year. I mean, last year season he didn't play at all. So do we even count that? But he's been contractually signed since 2019. So, but you also have to think that this investment isn't giving us the returns that we're expecting. Somebody of his caliber, of his hype, is not giving it. We're not in the playoffs. We're not. We were on the verge of being a 3 seed had he stayed healthy and our team stayed healthy. So we have what it takes, but we can't keep counting on him. And after a while, if you can't count on a player, are you going to pay that player millions and millions of dollars to take up a roster spot that you could maybe bring in 2 guys that's going to give you, combine what he gives you as one player? But that's a tough decision, and that's why I'm not a GM. That's why I'm not an owner. I can't say what decision I would make because you don't want to make a rash decision and then Zion go on to be the second coming of Jordan or whoever. So with that, I did want to say that I see some parallels to a certain player that we forget was quite injury prone early in their career, and that's Steph Curry. Not comparing their game, but just saying Steph early on had, I think it was a high ankle, issues that, he'd play a game, get hurt. He come back, next thing you know, he's limping. So, a lot of the Warriors faithful back then were ready to move on from Steph. And, I remember when Golden State made their big move and traded away Monte Ellis, and that's dating myself. Monte Ellis is, he was, their guy because he was one of those guys that could go out there and put up buckets. But that was pretty much all he's going to give you. And they traded him away for Andrew Bogut. And a lot of people were like, well, they were mad because they wanted to keep Ellis and trade Steph. Now they're like, and now that their staff, he had some special surgery, and now although he's been injury prone later in his career because he's getting older, he's been pretty stable. So you gotta look at that, revisit that history, and be like, well, that could be Zion. Of course, Steph plays a completely different style of basketball than Zion does, and so Zion's wear and tear is going to continue because that's the style he plays at, and that's the style that that's the style that defines him. So it's going to be a tough thought process for that team in the long run. But I don't want to call him a bust. I don't think he's a bust. I do think if this continues, if we see a repeat of this next year with a repeated setback, then that label is going to have to start to be brought up because you can't keep, if you're just that unhealthy to where you just cannot stay on the floor. I mean, that's the knock. AD's had that knock on him for a long time, but he's got a ring, and he's shown up when he can. And he doesn't have setbacks that Zion seems to have. So, yeah. So I hope he comes back and we can get a full season of Zion, and Zion can really show us what he can do, and he can get the Pelicans to the playoffs, and we can see playoff Zion and see where he can take it, because I think he can be a top 75 NBA player of all time, but he has to play. and because that's what they're there for. So yeah, so I just want to have a quick little spiel on Zion because I thought that quote was. If I was management, I wouldn't like that quote too much because I think if you're a player of any sport, your first, as soon as you're physically ready, you should want to run out on that court, field, whatever, and be ready to play to get your team to the next level. But different generation, I guess. So we're going to end it here. 30 minutes. I went longer than I even thought I would. Check me back. I will be back this week for the Mandalorian Season 3 review. So I will have a full episode Wednesday, hopefully, reviewing that whole season. It's getting good. I hear there's going to be some interesting things going on in the last episode. I said Anime Corner next week. We will be reviewing the manga chapters of Boruto, Dragon Ball Super, and I will give my thoughts on Demon Slayer season 3 so far. It's interesting. So yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Check out if you're not a YouTube person or you're checking this out on my other platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Please download, please follow, subscribe there. And I'm going to just continue creating content and hope you guys enjoy. So I will see you guys Wednesday. Check me out for some shorts later on, probably today and throughout the week. It's just a way to stay in contact with my subscribers. So y'all have a great start of the week, and I'll see you guys Wednesday.